Hello everyone, welcome back to this Python on Pandas tutorial series. In this video, we will discuss about the while loop in Python. We have already covered the for loop using which we were able to iterate through any iterable object like list, string or range. And now let us see how to use while loop in Python. Basically, while loops are used to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as a given condition is true. So we have a condition and we have a block of code to be executed till that condition remains true. And while loops are useful when we don't know the number of iterations in advance. And while loop control purely relies on a condition that is to be updated inside the loop to avoid the infinite loops. So in order to make the condition false at some moment, we have to keep changing the factor which is actually used in the condition so that we will not be ending up with infinite loop. Why? Because if the condition is not going to be false at some moment, that loop will be executed forever. And while loops often requires manual index management when iterating over sequences, unlike the for loops. If you see at the syntax of while loop, we will be writing while condition and colon followed by the block of code to execute. And let us see some example. How can we write a while loop in Python? And we will see what happens if we don't update the condition as we discussed here in point number 3. And we will see some example where while loop relies on the index manually. Open your Visual Studio Code and create a new file while loop demo.py. And in this, let us write an example to demonstrate the while loop. So let us take some variable, maybe a counter cnt equals to 1. And I will write while loop while cnt less than or equal to 3, and then I just need to print my name and make sure cnt to be updated. So this is a simple example of using while loop in Python. If you run this by clearing the output and Python while loop demo.py, you see like my name is printed 3 times. How means we have a counter which started with 1, and in while loop the condition is count less than or equal to 3. So now we have 1 in count. So 1 is less than or equal to 3, which is true, and it went inside the loop and executed the statements over here like printing my name as well as incrementing count by 1. And now count became 2. And again the condition will be checked. And 2 less than or equal to 3, which is true, and hence my name is printed again and count becomes 3 now. And when while loop checks for the condition again when count equal to 3, count less than or equal to 3, which is true again because we used less than or equal to, it goes inside the loop again. So it prints my name third time and count will be incremented by 1. Now count will become 4. It checks for the condition again. So 4 less than or equal to 3, which is false, and hence the loop will be terminated and control will be passed to the next line. So this is how while loops work. We discussed there should be a change to the condition, or there should be change to the factor which is impacting the condition to avoid the infinite loops. We will see that. So we have a counter. This is the factor actually which is being used in the condition check. So if we comment out this, now we are not changing the counter. So count value will be 1, it will be true, and my name will be printed, and again the condition will be checked and still the count value is 1. So it goes to the loop and count value is still 1. So it goes into the loop. So this will not be ended forever. Let us see here. I saved the code and run it. See, my name is getting printed and it is not going to end. So I just kill that manually by hitting Ctrl C, and I will just clear the console. So make sure to write some code in order to drive the flow such that the loop will be terminated at one point. And let us see another example, and in that we will use a numbers array or a list of numbers 10, 20, 30 and maybe 40. So this is a list of numbers we have, and we have a counter, or just let us take a counter, it will be used as the index. So we are initializing the index with 0 for this list. And now I just want to print the number from the numbers list using that index. So how we can do is print numbers of I. Got it? So now we are printing numbers of I, but we just have 0 over here. We will introduce the while loop over here while I less than length of the list numbers. So we have a function called len which returns the total number of elements from the given list. So in this case we get 4. So we will be executing our loop till I is less than 4. Initially it is 0. And remember to make a change to update the factor. So here the index is the factor. I will be updating that plus equal to 1. So that in the next iteration I'll get index 1 and I will be printing numbers of 1, and then it will be 2 numbers of 2, and then it will be 3 numbers of 3, and then it will be 4 because the length is 4 itself and we have written strictly less than 4 because the index started from 0 and all the elements from that list are exhausted. We should end that loop. So it will be false and then the loop will be terminated. So if you run this, you can see I have not commented this so that we are seeing Raja also 3 times, and after we can see that all elements from the numbers list are printed over here. So this is about while loop in Python. So just to recap, while loops are used to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as a given condition is true. We have seen that. And while loops are useful when the number of iterations is unknown. We don't know how many times the loop to be executed. So we have a condition and that may become false at any point of time in future. So in that case, you can depend on while loop. And loop control relies on a condition here. And there should be some update to the factor which is actually being used in the loop condition check so that it will avoid the infinite loop. And we often require manual index management whenever we are iterating over sequences. And the syntax of while loop is while space condition to check colon followed by the block of code. And in the next video, we will cover one more concept called nested loops. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.